It's hard enough scaling and building a solution at sea level, let alone. Do you know what I mean? We have so many founders that are talking about eating broken glass and the challenges, and that's not even at 3,000 meters. So yeah, can you talk about that a bit?
And,
Sure.
Sebastian, it's great that you pick something easy to do.
Very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Stream Podcast, an unscripted, unedited, free-flowing conversation featuring guests who reject the status quo with a bias for action in the world of water and beyond. My name is Tom Freyberg. I'm an environmental journalist and content creator specializing in water.
And I'm Will Sarney, water strategy advisor and investor, doing my part to solve wicked water problems.
And as always, a big thanks to our ongoing partner and sponsor, Raymond James, and our charity partner, Frank Water, as well as our many knowledge partners. And almost midway towards the end of this season on water and nature, we are thrilled to invite the guest, Sebastián Goldschmidt, who is the co-founder and CEO of Nilus. So Sebastián, thanks so much for joining us, and great to see you.
Hello, Tom. Hello, Will. Thank you very much for inviting me to share a little bit what we're doing in Nilus.
Very good. So I think we've had so many, I guess, tech entrepreneurs and tech founders over the 9 seasons, right, Will, that are looking at the hardware or the software. And I think I'm right in saying that Nilus is pretty unique in terms of what you're offering when it comes to I don't even think you'd class yourself as a water technology, would you? Right? Is it a water technology? It's more of like a nature replenishment. But yeah, looking at your profile, you've been labeled by Forbes as one of the sustainable minds of Chile, and you're on a mission to help combat glacial retreat in the same country with a nature-based solution that seeks to restore mountain ecosystems. So we'll go into a bit more detail of the mission, the vision, what you're building, and some of the partners as well. But I think with all of our guests, we always like to ask them to go back to their origin story. What was the genesis or the catalyst for actually thinking, do you know what, we're going to build Nilus? So if you could, as the co-founder, maybe kind of take us back in time as a starting point.
Well, thank you very much for that question. Okay, so well, this project, this initiative, this part maybe of my life start almost. It started almost 6 years ago with Manu, another co-founder of this project, and it was when we saw a picture, a picture of what the Indian communities, in the Himalayas communities, were doing at the high mountain ecosystem. So we saw that they were storing water. As a ice, so using only the force of nature, and that was amazing. So just imagine a structure, a nice cone in the middle of the desert, but in the mountain. So it was amazing when we saw that. So also there were structures maybe more or less 40 meters of hay. And the most interesting part is that they were supplying water to their communities. So that was very interesting because here in Chile we have an amazing mountain range. We are based in Chile, Nilus based in Chile, and we have a very thin country, but also we have we have a range, and this mountain range, maybe you know about it, but there is 40,000 kilometers of a mountain range. So, and also we have some specific and good conditions to do ice. And on the other side, we have the same issues related to water. We are one of the countries maybe with more exposed to the climate change. So with more risk, and that's how maybe we start Nilus. So understanding that there is some natural technologies, that we have the same issues, and also that we wanted to complement this with technologies. okay, with database technology. So our background comes from the mining industry, and we wanted to apply this background into this amazing maybe initiative, and understand that we need to recover our mountains more than work on them. Okay, so that's how this story began a few years ago. But the most important thing is that we start maybe inviting people, okay, inviting some people who right now is part of the team, and also sharing what we thought when we saw these ice structures. So how we believe, how we dream, and how we use those technologies to prepare or to preserve our glaciers that they are maybe in a crisis today all over the world. So that's how
Right.
a little bit, and is a summary of how this story began.
I think it's, when I saw you at the 100 Plus Accelerator, I I really do think I was there with my mouth open. Like, to Tom's point, you're not a typical tech company. It is tech-enabled, nature-based solutions, and just so exceptional in terms of how you're thinking about, you know, your mission, your vision, and what you're delivering to some of the corporate partners that you have. And I think that's really, really interesting. And there's a bit of a lesson there in terms of crafting a very compelling and unusual value proposition to support, replenish strategy, positive water impact, and so on.
It's really interesting, isn't it? 'Cause I think the narrative we hear is about the impact of climate change on glacial retreat, right? So melting ice packs, the impact on the water cycle, more water is getting into the environment, and heavier rainfalls, heavier downfalls. And I've never heard of, well, actually, there's a first time I think you crafted it well, where you said it's nature-based solution meets tech, because you're essentially growing these ice. What's the official name for them, Sebastian? Ice, like almost mini mountains, like ice
Ice
structures,
mounds.
ice mounds, right? It's because it's very new, so I'm trying to kind of not define it. And I was looking on your site earlier, and you mentioned one of the inspirations was from the sort of ancestral technique from the communities, and hopefully I pronounce it right, the Ladakh, which they've seen, and they basically are called guardians of the Himalayas, and they can store water in the winter to then gradually release it in the summer, which I think is genius. And you're finding a way to be inspired by this ancestral technique, but obviously modernize it and kind of maybe accelerate it as well. So talk to us a bit more detail about how this innovation works, and the process as well.
Yes. Well, thanks also for this question. And well, it was amazing when we also met Will, and also we saw that maybe that smile, and also we knew his vision about this, and it was amazing. So thank you for that. Um, Yes, so this inspiration comes from the Himalayas. Okay, so we saw this ancestral technique, how they freeze water using only the force of nature, and that was amazing. So right now, what we are doing is to understand. Okay, so how we use the technology, okay, to see or to what is happening in the nature. Okay, so right now we are learning from what is happening. It means, okay, I put the water into fine droplets, and then that droplets then freeze. Okay, so how can I optimize that process? Okay, how can I optimize the volume that I can store, considering the different variables of the site? Okay, and also how much water or how much time I will have that water available. Okay, so this is part of what we are studying right now. And this is very interesting because so today we have so many tools to do this. Okay, so artificial intelligence is part of what we can use. Okay, so what if we can put some sense, uh, okay, in these ice structures in the field to understand I don't the temperatures in the same cone. Okay, how can I see? I can use also computer vision, and then we are using different sensors to understand. This is part of the process that we are developing right now. So, but the main interesting thing is that we are just taking water from a higher point to a lower point and then converting it to fine droplets. And then those droplets freeze with the same condition of the site. Okay. So maybe that's the through technology at the end.
It,
So the other part is just to see.
it
Is it?
is so it is the I don't say innovation, but what makes this feasible is uh, the droplet size. So you're getting a very fine water droplet that is prone to freezing at a lower elevation. Is that right?
Yes, you use only gravity. Okay, for example, so we are using water from a glacier that is melting. Okay, so we took it or we take it with the pipe, and then we transport that water, okay, into a lower point, and in that point uh, we we have we turn that flow into a droplet. Okay, so you have some specific condition, but also that droplets needs some specific conditions, okay, or size maybe to get freeze. So this is part of what we are studying, or we have been studying during those years.
That's really interesting. And can you talk a little bit about, the 100 Plus Accelerator program and the corporations that are interested in what you're doing from, uh, their replenish strategy? It's like, what were those conversations like? And were they as amazed as we are in terms of what you're doing?
Yes, it has been a path for us to connect with these organizations. So the first 2 years, there was we use our own resource and also some volunteers to do this, to start piloting on site. Okay, so then we connect with some organizations like Coca-Cola, like COPEC, and other organizations. Um, but considering a lot the people and their visions, okay? Because
Mm,
they understood that this is something that we need. This is a long-term project. So, and this is an under development project. So they understood that this is important, that our mountains are important, that the water that comes from the glacier is important, and they say, okay, I will be with you. For example, Coca-Cola, right now we are working with 100 Plus Accelerator. So they believe in the vision, okay, and also they believe in our progress during those years, okay,
hmm
because right now we're able to monitor what we are doing on site. And this is very interesting. Okay. So this is part of our maybe institutional framework where we understand how much water is entering to the system. Also, we are understanding how much water is freeze. Okay. And also, part of that water is replenished. Okay. So this is something that we are start working with those organizations during this path. Okay, so but at the beginning we always connect with people that understand that this is important.
I think it's, looking at, water tech startups and, this includes the 100 Plus. I mean, there are some entrepreneurs in tech solutions that are just sort of, yeah, this makes sense from a technology perspective, market opportunity, but they're not like exciting. Like you wouldn't look at them and say, I've never seen anything like this. I want to learn more and I want to be part of it. You're in the latter category where it's, well, this is really cool. It's solving a problem. And I may not know exactly how it fits into what I'm doing as a corporation, but I want to spend time, money, and energy in figuring it out. So you have this like very human connection as part of your value proposition.
Uh, yes,
You don't have
so
to say anything. I'm just, my observation and, you know,
yes, but I would
my,
like to complement
interest.
that. I would like to complement that because it's part of maybe is something that we are building as a team during those years, and that's the most also inspiring thing. Okay, we are growing with an amazing group of people, but the belief that we can do something different. Okay, and that's also
Right.
amazing. Thank you for that, Will.
You're welcome.
Can you talk a bit about, well, first of all, echo kind of Will's comments. I think as one of the co-founders, you've got to have the vision, and you've got to be able to, whether you're talking to Coca-Cola or speaking to partners or recruiting staff, you've got to be able to tell that story and sell that vision to bring them on the journey, right? Which I think clearly you've done and you do very well. Can you talk a bit about how this, like the business model of how this works, maybe in terms of the funding and the partnerships with the corporations, and eventually how that will be used to scale it?
Yes, we have a few ways, okay, that we are working with companies. One of them is related to replenish, that is
Mm.
framed on the water stewardship of the companies, that they uh, want to measure what we're doing, okay, and also to use it as a maybe compensation project, part of their compensation project, okay, like we are doing with Coke, with ABI or 100 plus accelerator in this case.
Mm.
So Copec, and also this is part of an invite, okay, for companies that want to be part of this research and development project that is very related to the mountains. Where here, for example, we have a lot of companies that work in the high mountains, like mining companies, and also they understand that we need to do something different again. Okay, because sometimes there is just a few projects that are working on the high mountains. Okay, so today, for example, we're working at 200 900 meters above the sea level, so it's not easy to do that. So there is a few challenges that we need to that we are working, and every year we have some other different challenges, but this is something that people wants to be part, and being part as a sponsor and being part as in this project to work near a glacier. So this is part how they come to us.
I think about that height. You mentioned 2,900 meters above sea level. And I just flick back to kind of skiing and snowboarding trips of around 2,200, that kind of height, right? And I think even at there, that's quite a challenging environment with which to build stuff and to bring a team. So you mentioned some of the challenges of operating at that height. Can you talk a bit more about that in terms of it's hard enough scaling and building a solution at sea level, let alone. Do you know what I mean? There are so many founders that are talking about eating broken glass and the challenges, and that's not even at 3,000 meters. So yeah, can you talk about that a bit?
And,
Sure.
Sebastian, it's great that you pick something easy to do. Just like,
Right.
sure, yeah, we
Yeah,
can
just
do this.
leave the corporate world and then go for an easy job at 2,900 meters high. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, I will just give you an example. For example, the first year we start working on site,
Hmm.
so we were able to get the place with a four-wheel drive car. Okay, so that was the first year. The second year, we have 3 to 4 meters of snow. So that's
Mm.
the main challenge. So our conditions in terms of logistics, of planning, and also of resilience of our infrastructure there was at risk. Okay, so the second, the third year, the fourth year, and even this year were different. So today the nature also is maybe our main challenge. Okay, so we have lost during this year some monitoring station because of the avalanches during bad weathers. Okay, but these are hard conditions. Okay, so but at the end is the nature. Okay, so we are trying to understand it, and also every year we are learning. Okay, learning because well we are in the same site, but the conditions are different. So this has been maybe something interesting, but also our plan is to continue growing or continue working so in a higher level. Okay, because
Mm.
we need to understand which is going to be the impact of these isostructures is some specific point near a glacier. So what if we are able to preserve, and that's where the vision comes. So what if what we are doing right now is to work in a technology to preserve our glaciers. Okay, so we also believe that this is our climate change laboratory. Okay, so we are growing in this place, we are scaling maybe on in this place, and that's how we are trying to find some resources in different organizations who believes also in our vision and they share in our vision. So this is also a plan for the next 5 to 10 years. Okay, still working in this site, uh, and then to try to understand which is the impact that we are making on that site, and also which is the impact that we are going to make near a glacier. So maybe this has been this were our main challenges. Mhm.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's interesting when we talk about impact because is there an element of you've obviously you mentioned about using gravity, creating these kind of fine droplets that are easy to freeze to kind of build the structures where you're storing the water and then presumably they last longer than snowfall, which would melt because of the structure of them. And then are you looking into sort of measuring the quantity of the water that would then be, once it melts, kind of be replenished back into the environment and back to the sources? Is that kind of part of, you mentioned about having sensors and AIs and kind of working with corporates on the replenishment side. Presumably there's a measurement element of how much the quantities of water that you're able to freeze and then put back.
Yes, so means we are freezing water during the winter, and then we are changing the time. Means that we are delivering that water when it most needed,
Mm.
okay, in the dry
Mm.
season. So we are irrigating some specific areas during a extended period of time. So that's the way. So we have some models, of course, of replenish, but that's the main concept, okay, that we are using.
Very good. Yeah, it's super interesting. So, in terms of the areas where you're developing this, and you're coming to us from Chile, what's kind of part of the vision? Where can we see a Nilus system, for example? How far are you looking? When I go snowboarding in Switzerland and France, which I haven't been for the last couple of years, will I see a Nilus system eventually?
Well, uh, hopefully, all of course, all around the world. So this year we had a visit. We have some visitors, okay,
Mm,
from Peru, the last Incas.
mm,
Okay, it was a perfect match. I don't know, some magical things happens in this project. So a good friend of us connect us with the Queros, okay, the last Incas, and they were in Santiago. So he showed the project that we are doing. So, and they understood that it's very interesting because they live near a glacier, and the water is life. For them, okay. So maybe our next step is going to build a nice reservoir in Peru with our Queros friends, okay? But well, in the Andes mountain range in different points, and also why not in the Alpes? Because so we are facing the same challenge all around the world. So hopefully we are able to build this in different part of the world. Today, also, I will like to add. So we are working very close with the Himalayas communities. In this case, with the HIAL, so the Himalayan Alternatives Institute. Okay, so this is something that we are working every year. So part of the team come to Chile, part of our team goes to Ladakh. So to have this exchange, because we have some different conditions. But also, this is a very interesting way to exchange part of our cultures. And also, this is a very interesting way to have 2 winters a year because it's not easy to have just 4 to 5 months and then working for the next year. So what if we are able to work in two winters every year? So that's has been exciting to work with them.
Sebastian, one thing we didn't talk about is how long does this take? So, tied into Tom's question about, where else might you replicate this? Like, how long does it take to find a location and then set it up and grow an ice mound?
Yes, so to find a place, and it took a few months, okay? But then we try to use all the winter, okay? So maybe 5 to 6 months with some temperatures below zero or around zero, okay? And then the melting of that ice, so it's part of what we are studying, but we are getting almost 4 months, okay? So, but what is the expectation to grow these ice reserves, to have ice maybe to the next year? What if we are able to extend this ice mass maybe in our case, to next April, when we are going to start doing ice again? So what means to do ice over ice every year? Okay, doesn't matter if the 5 or the 10%, but what if we are doing ice over ice? So what if we think this in the following 100 years or in the following 1000 years? So we are going to create new glaciers, okay? So at the end, that's what we want to do. Mhm.
So essentially, year on year, you would lose some of the glacier to melt, but that water's harnessed. But then you're essentially topping up the ice, so the whole thing collectively and cumulatively over the years gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? As a kind of ice reserve. Okay.
Yes. So, for example, at the Himalayas, they have some experience doing this. Okay. So, putting ice over ice every year. So, our next goal is to do that. Okay. How we can build this ice reserve that maybe melt a percent of that ice mass during the winter or during the summer, and then to start doing ice over ice.
Very good. You've maybe to kind of close out, can you talk a bit about the team you're building around you? You mentioned, I mean, it's quite the vision of doing what you're doing and then building a team to kind of operate in those conditions. I just had the thought that most people will bring in like a CIO, Chief Innovation Officer. I would love to know that you've brought in a Chief Ice Officer, CIO, or
I
equivalent, but
like that.
yeah, there we go. You can use that one. But presumably, I mean, you're surrounding yourself with great because you are on this kind of mission and fighting glacial retreat. So talk to us a bit about some of the people you're surrounding yourself with at Nilus.
Well, Chief Ice Officer is
Mm.
noted.
Noted.
There you go.
Noted.
Well, Tom and I might
I will
apply for
find. I
that
will find
position,
that.
by the way.
Hey, look, if it's on a mountain during the winter, I mean, through 2,900 meters, I'm in.
Not
So,
bad.
yeah, right.
Yes. Well, in our team, or the other co-founder, Manu, is the Chief Future Officer. Okay.
Okay, CFO.
So
Yeah,
yes, this is a key position in our company because he's defining the strategy in the following years. Okay, in terms of technology, and this is a key position for us. Okay, so also we have other roles like our hydrologist expert in the team. We have our CTO, but very aligned with the purpose. Okay, we define our company as a purpose driven company. Okay, so even if we are related to climate and also we believe that part of the team, what we need, well, we truly believe in what we're doing, but also try to share this with kids. Okay, so part of what we do is we run educational programs. Okay, so near in the schools in the high mountains. Okay, to share what we are doing. And also to invite them to be part of this because they are going to be the guys who will make this sustainable. Okay, so we are not working just for the 5 or 10 years. We're working maybe for the next generation. We have a very good friend of us that also work with us in the project. He's from Easter Island, and Easter
Wow.
Island is a small island, very isolated island here in Chile. Okay, the most isolated island in the world. And he tell us a few years ago that we are ancestors. So that is something very unique, and that message also is part of what our team need to share. Okay, so we have Roberto. This is our leader of operation. Jose, Diego, me. And so we have Edwin. We have a team that is very aligned with what we were doing. So this is amazing. And this is a team that we're consolidating the last 5 years.
I love that you have a chief future officer employed to sort of look at strategy. And I think, looking at your kind of vision, I think the active participation of local communities seems to be very important with you. And I think it all kind of connects, right, from the inspiration from those ancestral techniques to the educational outreach and kind of communication with where you're working with the younger generations. It's all got a nice kind of flow with it to sort of develop a technique that can presumably be passed on throughout generations and then help to gradually restore the ice stores. So yeah, it's great that you're doing that. Well, yeah, Sebastian, it's kind of that's gone really quickly. We've reached the end of our time. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing your story. It's very inspiring to hear a co-founder not talk about AI or optimizing water assets, right? It's actually refreshing. So I think this is first and hopefully not the last time we have someone talking about glacier restoration on the podcast. And yeah, Will, final kind of thoughts and comments from yourself, and we'll close out.
Yeah, just sort of go back to this is amazing in terms of the combination of, a nature-based solution coupled with tech and the exciting, unusual, compelling human side of this. So you just really don't see it very often. So that's my takeaway. I mean, I just think that I will continue to be amazed every time I hear this.
Great stuff. Well, Sebastian, thanks so much. We look forward to seeing you maybe at the next 100 plus with your newly recruited CIO. And yeah, all the best for the continued growth of the company. And we look forward to hearing more from you soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Oh yeah, happy holidays as well.
Yes. See you next year.
Okay.
Yes. So thank you very much for this instance to share what we're doing, and also we are always inviting companies and people and who want to be part of this. Okay, so this is we as a person, we have a huge responsibility of what is happening on our mountains. So we need to collaborate with organizations and also with person to do this and to make an impact. So thank you very much for the invitation.
I love it. Well, we'll do our best to spread the word and through the stream and our networks as a kind of open invitation for participation and people to get involved. So, Sebastian, thanks so much. We'll speak soon.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Take care.
Will,
Bye.
Tom, thank you.
Bye-bye.